Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Office Hours. I hope everyone is well. It's just me this week, unfortunately. Flo can't join us. Hey Anton, how's it going? Hope all is good. Hey Joaquin. If it's your first time here, Joaquin, these office hours are basically just for any questions you may have. So if you do have any questions at all regarding WeWeb building, whatever it might be, feel free to ask away. You keep running to perfection. Lovely. It's poetic. What does the roadmap for WeWeb look like? Basically, the main thing right now is we're looking to launch our own backend. I would need Flo here with me. He's our CPO to give you a better date. But I would say roughly within the next 1 to 2 months, we'll probably look to do an open beta within the next few weeks. That's the main thing. And then beyond that, probably just iterating on the back end, to be honest with you, because there's a bunch of new features with integrations and things of that nature. But yeah, beyond the back end, I couldn't say much without Flo here. Main thing is the back end. Trying to understand what the Stripe plugin does. What are you trying to use it for, Anton? Subscriptions, yeah, subscriptions I'm not too sure about. I know it handles one-time payments well, but I'm not too sure for subscriptions. Let me check. I'm still just checking this. Anton, give me 1 second. Yes, I'm not too familiar with it, Anton. However, I'm just looking at the code of the plugin, and the code of the plugin does have subscription actions. So you can create subscriptions, update subscriptions, cancel subscriptions, retrieve subscriptions, and list subscriptions. So it does seem to have the subscription actions, but I guess it just depends what your use case is. Why shift focus to the back end? Doesn't Superbase and Xano do this well? Yes, they do it very well. Really, there's two main reasons around it. First one is Xano and Superbase do it very well, but there's still very much a learning curve, I would say, for the platforms. And we've seen it time and time again where often where someone gets stuck with WeWeb isn't necessarily with WeWeb itself. It's with whatever backend they're trying to use, maybe. And at that point, it kind of is just out of our control as to how many different blockers there might be for someone and how we can ultimately, help them get unstuck. Plus, as well, if you're used to WeWeb, then having a WeWeb backend that follows the same UI would be pretty intuitive. So that's the first reason. And then the second one, I think Anton mentioned it. Yeah, the other reason is AI. If we have a full stack experience, it's just much easier to improve the output of our AI in many ways because we have that holistic control and we can better engineer it in a way that works with the backend because we own the full architecture. So those are really the two main reasons among various different ones, like being able to now handle integrations and Google SSO and all that stuff natively. Yes, so the docs, let me check the docs because I've personally never updated the Stripe docs. It's been on my to-dos for a while, but it's just one of those things that I never had the chance to get around to. So in terms of documentation, I'm not too sure how much docs there is on handling subscriptions, because if my memory serves me correctly, I think most of the docs is based around handling one-time payments, but the plugin itself does have subscription capabilities. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the docs now. I'll put a link to it in chat if it's useful. But the docs kind of bases itself around one-time payments as opposed to subscriptions, unfortunately. But the plugin itself does have the capabilities for subscriptions. Yeah, I think probably the most useful thing if you already have it set up in Superbase is the elements. Thanks. What do you think about improving the custom code experience? I find it really hard to create my own custom coded components inside WeWeb. It would make it so much more powerful. Yes, I agree. Usually Flo, our CPO, is on these calls. He would be able to give you much more context around how we want to solve this, because he knows this is a massive pain point, and we've discussed it a bunch in the past few weeks. I know the plan, once the backend is out, is to improve the experience of building custom coded components quite a bit. What that looks like, again, I need Flo here to describe it in more detail. It might involve exposing it via an MCP. It probably will involve, in of itself, improving the experience in some way in terms of potentially the architecture of custom coded components, but probably more likely putting more time into building a very thorough kind of Claude.md file or knowledge file that you can give to an AI to help you build. I assume that's what you're talking about anyway, Hakeem, in terms of finding it hard to create your own custom coded components. I assume you mean from even a standpoint of like using AI to build it, it just doesn't do it very well? Or do you mean even the UI in some way of it right now, in terms of how you work with them in the editor, is difficult? And you get rid of it. I think there was a typo there, Anton, unless I'm going crazy with the main problem with custom coffee. I assume that's a typo unless I'm going crazy. I think you mean components is error handling, everything is obfuscated, and you get an E, yeah, you get an error. For custom components, it's hard to integrate them in forms. Maybe there's an example for it. AI didn't help. In basic input and checkboxes, it's differently implemented. Yeah. So I think the big thing for improving this from our side would be around basically the system prompt that you give AI. So the Claude.md file, whatever it looks like, including in that all the knowledge you require that details kind of these nuances of how to set up custom coded components and how we've set up a few of them. Because at the end of the day, you just need like one of our expert devs who knows WeWeb inside and out. You want his brain, but in an AI. And I think the best way we get around that is fleshing out the system prompt file a lot more. I mean, how I work with it in the editor, I have to have like localhost, yeah. Yeah, I wish Flo was here. I don't really have a good answer for you here, unfortunately, because I don't know how much leeway we have in terms of changing the experience of running it locally. So you would still want to build in a code editor, Hakeem, like you wouldn't want to use our internal AI in the chat, because if you do it that way, obviously it builds it straight away and you can use it in the editor. But if you're building it externally, then you have to still test it in local before you publish it. So you would still want to build externally, but have just a better way of running it inside of the editor before you publish. Emmerich has joined us. Hey, Emmerich, how's it going?
Yeah, all good.
All good, all
Sorry,
good, good stuff.
I joined a bit late. I was gonna chat you on YouTube comments, and I thought, because you were talking about custom components and stuff, and I thought give you a bit of feedback from last session. I had a question about forking, I guess, the WeWeb AI chat. And then I also have a quick question as well. So yeah, I guess just a bit of feedback on the working part, and your video on how to develop with cursor, something like that. To be honest, I found it much more or much easier to just fork the component, copy all the files into a new project in Cursor, just like manually, and then work that way. And then you can manually update the code in a Flip component through the UI. And that way I could just like keep, I don't know, hold more control, I felt, and visibility. And I use like, oh, we're changing kind of 10 lines here or something like that. Your workflow, I guess, with like local host and stuff like that, I did that, and I just I don't know, felt a bit out of control basically with that.
So you fork the component, you copied all the code into Cursor, and whenever it made a change, you copy and pasted those changes into
Manually.
Okay.
Manually, yeah.
Yeah.
So that way I don't have to do the local host stuff, and you know how sometimes you kind of need to go into developer mode and stuff like that. So I just didn't need to do any of that. So hopefully you guys are not gonna lock that somehow.
No, yeah, it makes sense. I guess, like, how did you ever run into a situation then where it did something that because obviously you can only see the change when you go through the process of copying, pasting it, and then publishing that change. And was that iteration quite painful then, I guess, when it did things you
Not
didn't want
really. No, not really, because that's the thing. Is like you have the version control there. You know, you can always just flip back to the other one, and of course, you know, you have all that, and then it compiles. So you know, you have to wait for it to compile. A bunch of time I was like, where is this, you know, property that you've been telling me that you've done and all of that? But I kind of sorted out, so it kind of went brilliantly. And funny enough, I sorted out the whole thing that I needed last time with
it working.
tell me more tag. Yeah, and it worked brilliant. So I probably kind of spent a bunch of hours doing the local host and stuff like that. And 45 minutes, I sorted out the thing with the manual copy paste. Because technically I only needed to kind of update a few files, and it kind of only added a few lines of code. So it wasn't really anything dramatic. I think if you build a brand new component, for sure, you know, do the local host stuff. But if you're forking something, I found it much easier to do it this way.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Hakeem says he also does it this way as well.
He also does the same way. Yeah.
I'm putting this on screen now because I want to send this to Flo afterwards. I'll send him this kind of timestamp of you saying this and Hakeem saying this, because I think he'd find it super interesting, because we've discussed custom components a bunch. So okay, thank you so much. That's actually super interesting.
Yeah. So my other question is, I'll give you a bit of the background in terms of what I'm trying to do. Oh, I was trying to kind of share my screen. So I'm doing something. I'll tell you kind of my thinking process I may be on, and I'll also kind of give you the question that I have. So I have this project, and basically, if I go into kind of a data model here, basically what I have, and the user, I'm doing something with documents, so kind of pre-populating documents from users. So the idea is that I'm going through like a multi-step form in order to kind of, I guess, filter out the specific document that the user selects. They select the document, and then I'm managing this, I guess, user inputs, which would be like the answers to the questions. So each particular document has a number of placeholders, and then I guess one placeholder could be in multiple documents as well. So I guess company name, it's a simple one that you could have. And then the other thing that I have here, these are like, I guess, the user questions that the user is able to provide. And then the same thing, a user could have multiple companies. So then I kind of need to have one of these rows in Superbase for each company of each user. Anyway, so kind of part of my, so kind of I have two ways that, or the problem here that I have is like, okay, well, when the user gets to select the document and they also select the company, I need to provide them with a UI to answer each individual question one at a time. And then, and I want to do that through the chat. So basically the question will come on the AI chat component on the side, and they provide an answer. and then I kind of need to move to the second question. So my first question there was, what would be, I guess, a good way for me to just roll through every question that I have? Because, for example, one document could have like 20 placeholders. So I would need to basically say placeholder number 1, company name. Please put your input here. Also, by the way, you've already added the input, 2 weeks ago. Would you want to change it? That type of thing. So I kind of need to provide that element. So I was trying to kind of figure out, I guess, on a high level, what would be kind of the best way for me to iterate through those 20 questions one at a time. And of course, if you click the idea of next, then you kind of go to the next question anyway.
So just to make sure, like, the UX as you would expect it to be. So if it's in the chat interface, you would kind of have, like, you have the user message and the assistant message, and the assistant message is the blue one, and then the user message is the white one, and it would just be one after the other.
Yes. So that would be it. So kind of from the UI, I'm selecting that, like I select the company, and then the idea would be that you kind of provide, or it's providing me a question. I provide an answer. Okay, it gives me kind of that. So right now I have it kind of. It's just going through it. I have like I guess a variable with a bunch of values in there. But yeah, I was trying to kind of figure out what would be kind of your recommendation for something like this.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like you had a base set up there from what you just showed me, because it was automatically posting a message straight after that one.
Yeah.
I don't know how much logic there is behind what it's doing right now.
So it's not much, basically. So I guess this is the variable for the entire chat, and I have a list of questions kind of sitting here. I think, and I'm doing the current index. To be honest, I kind of generated this initial one through AI chat. Just because, it's probably indexes. I'm a lot of figuring out how to move from one, how to iterate from one to the other. I do know that this one, so this one basically has a question list, and this is a variable that I've just stored. So I think my current approach here is, so again, this is kind of I kind of increased, I guess, the current index for it, and then in here, taking the current index, taking out the current question, puts it in there in this. I guess
this is set up.
Turns it into format.
I think you have like 90% of it, to be honest with you, because I would have said whenever. In my mind, it's like you click a document, the chat panel opens, and then the flow begins. In my mind, it's like when you click the document, at that point, you figure out how many questions there are and what are those questions, and you loop over those. And so as soon as you get a message back from the user, then you increment to the next question, and you just keep going until you hit however many questions there are. So in this case, the index. So if there was 10 questions, as soon as it hits index 9, because it starts from 0, as soon as it hits index 9, the flow is done, and then you trigger, whatever happens after the flow. So I think in truth, like, you have it pretty much 90% of the way there. The only thing I guess you might want to change is how it asks the questions. Because when you showed me, it said it used the raw name, I think, instead of showing
the raw name. Yeah. The other thing because another idea that I had was rather than stored, was what my challenge was doing this would be that, well, if I have my variable with all the placeholders, I guess with all the questions, I kind of need to be smart about, has the user provided an answer for this question before? So I haven't shown that part, or I haven't built that part. So the other thing that I thought is, well, rather than do all of this in a workflow in WeWeb, might as well just do it in an SQL, because I thought, I guess, speed-wise, it could be much faster. So I wrote still, I probably forgot how to like variables from the UI to trigger that SQL. So whenever you select company, basically, here, yeah. So whenever you select a company, I will get that particular SQL. Basically, I'm giving it, or I should give it, like the document ID and then the company ID. And I guess I also need like the user ID as well to know which user. But I forgot how to. So does this need to be an object? Is it?
I'm sorry.
Whenever we're sending
the Superbase stuff, I'm really not too sure on, unfortunately.
Yeah,
if it's an argument,
I remember I did it. Yeah,
I think so. I know if Anton's still in the chat, or any Superbase users still in the chat, could you help Emmerich out here? But yeah, for this one, unfortunately, I'm not too sure, and it depends in the UI. How would you want to handle it? So if there is a previous answer, would you want to let the user know that we have this previous answer and we're skipping, or would you not even mention it then because you know you have the previous answer?
No. So I will. So for example, what I'm pulling here, I'm pulling the I guess the placeholder ID, the names, etc. And then here on the right, I'm pulling the answer. Yeah. So for example, question 1 and question 2, I already have the answers, so I would still show them the answer. But I was thinking that through an SQL, it might be faster to pull the entire relationship, the way I want it, rather than have multiple collections and transformations and functions directly on WeWeb.
Yeah, give me just 1 second, because I feel like this might be in the docs. I don't think it is, unfortunately. Did you try it in a couple of different ways, just out of curiosity?
Well, I'm just building it right now, so I just tried it once and it didn't work, and I thought, oh, these guys are online anyway, so might as well just ask.
Yeah, sorry, I can't give you a good answer.
I mean, it's okay. I'll sort it out. I have another project that I worked on that I did it, so I could have a look to see. I mean, I know for edge functions, you build it as an object for sure. But for SQL, I wouldn't.
Yes, for the edge, for the SQL, I'm not too sure, because you haven't. For edge functions, you define the input parameters, and so when you create the object, you know what the key should be, and then the value is what you want the dynamic value to be. But for the SQL, I don't think it doesn't know what keys there are. Basically, you're just passing dynamic values. So that's where I'm not too sure if it needs an object, because I don't know how it would know how to interpret that. But I'm not too sure what the solution is. Right?
Yeah, sure. I'll have a look at it. Okay. But yeah. So what's kind of the state, I guess, with the new format and the new UI to come live? Is that still? I guess this quarter.
It's still in the works. It's getting there. I don't want to give you a time frame just yet, because Flo will kill me if I give one without him being here and confirming whatever. But it's in the works. I think we're doing private testing for now, and then the plan is to probably open up the testing in the next few weeks. And then after that, we shall see. But I know the plan is just to get it out there ASAP. Still in the works.
Okay. Well, anyway, thanks for your time. Happy to see you all well, and speak to you next time.
Likewise, sir. Speak soon. Bye.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Bye.
And I know you joined, Sean. I saw your question in the chat, but I assumed you were joining to ask it, so I shall bring you in. Hey, Sean. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good.
Good. You know me coming in last minute here.
No worries. What's the crack? How can I help?
Let's see. Let me share my screen. Just some basic stuff. And I got a question on it. And then when the AI goes in and edits some not necessarily CSS, but it's not in the actual.
I remember the same problem you had last week where you had to reset
I know
it.
I can hit reset data, but is there also another? Where is it saving that data? Is it like hidden, or we can't edit it and we have to hit reset?
Yeah, and for the time being, you have to hit reset because it's basically applying something that isn't. It's like adding styling that there isn't something in the UI for. So there's no way to control it from the UI. So unfortunately, yeah, the only way right now is to reset it.
But eventually, right? We
Yeah.
will. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So let's do the hard. When it comes to doing the light and dark, I asked AI to fix it, and it just destroyed my CSS, and it didn't look right, and it undo didn't work. And so I'm curious, does that happen every once in a while where undo just doesn't work with AI and you have to be careful?
No, that is the first time I've heard of it. Undo should always, unless you refresh, then it wipes the history, so there's no way to undo. But if it let you undo, it should have still reset everything.
No, it didn't. I put in a ticket just so they could trace it. I did a snapshot of it. And
did it change like the colors in the chart, or it even changed colors in the project?
The whole project.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact,
that's definitely a bug.
I could. Yeah, they're looking into it. So, we don't have to like do it here, but I thought it'd be good to just see what your thoughts were.
Yeah, no, apologies for that, because that's the first time I've heard of the undo not working. The undo should always work.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. It depends how it edited it. I'm not too sure, but you definitely should have been able to undo.
Okay. All right, let me pull up a little nuance here. I have in the project some table edges here. I mean, you see like a double line that I can't get rid of, like at the top here. But one of the issues we had before was trying to center, because I have to use the data grid. The grid is not repeating, just a regular, what do you call this? A regular table.
Yeah.
And we had trouble centering some of the data, but if we switch from, on the far right here, from div to button, it just automatically centers vertically, which we were having trouble doing before.
Do you want it to be a button? It should be clickable in some way?
No, I just wanted to be centered because div didn't work. You can't.
It's because this is kind of a weird thing with text. It's not a weird thing. I mean, it's a web dev thing with text. What you'll probably need to do is you need to put this in a div. So a quick way to do it when you have it selected is, I'm on Mac. So for me, it's Command G. If you're on Windows, it might be Control G. Depends what you're on.
That's right.
Yeah. And so now if you click on the...
Oh. Shit.
I think you have to... No. So yeah, you have to just select it again there. Yeah.
Okay.
And so now if you click on the flex box that it's inside of and scroll to the top, if you put this on, it's because you've got it. If you click on a layout beneath this, there you go. And then if you center everything here.
Is that it? Center?
Yep. That hasn't worked, but we'll check it in a second. And now if you click this text, and now if you remove the text align you had, so you see the way you've got it, set it back to auto, and then remove the fixed height. If you set the height to auto.
Oh.
There we go.
Ah, shoot. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, we didn't talk about that before. That's good.
Although now I say that, I didn't see that you had that fixed height on it before. So it might have actually been, if you have it again, check out the height, because I didn't see you had that fixed height before, and that might have been the issue.
Oh, fixed height breaks the centering. I got it.
Yeah, because it'll maybe actually. Well, now I think about it, it shouldn't have. I don't think it should have actually. So I don't think it was the height.
So I put the height back.
No. I think height. Keep it as it was. Keep it as we've done it. I don't think height was the issue there. I think it was just the fact that it needed to be inside something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but I have all these as buttons. Is that gonna really? If they're not really buttons, it's not gonna really hurt anything, right?
No, I mean, if it works, it's not that big of a thing. It's more for accessibility and stuff like that, because in the HTML, it'll have a button attribute. But it wouldn't, if someone's just using your app normal, it wouldn't really cause any issues. It's more of just an accessibility thing.
Okay. All right. And then do you see the double line here? I couldn't seem to figure out. There's like on the right-hand side is a double line.
Yeah, we can have a look. This might be one of those AI things, unfortunately, that is, there's no way around, but let's see. So if you have the two borders there, and then if you scroll to the bottom, there's no custom CSS, is there? No. And then if you click on the container that this is inside of, so the table header row, yeah. There's a border on, no, there's only the bottom border here. If you scroll to the bottom, I can see there's, if you click on the CSS property, I can see, yeah, if you press reset, I don't know if there's some kind of invisible styling applied. No, it's still there, right? The two borders. Yeah, so unfortunately, I think this might be Sean. With AI, I've seen it sometimes. Sometimes it might create a border that is behind the scenes, and unfortunately you just can't edit it. I think it's one of the bugs right now. So are you able to just set your border to 0 and use the one it has?
Yeah. Like
if that works, I think that's just a workaround for now. It's
Okay.
just something to be aware of. Like, this is the two things I've seen is a known issue with AI is the thing you've experienced last week where you have to press reset, and the other one is borders. Those are the two ones that I know are known.
Okay. All right. I think that's coming out in the next release.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of AI improvements in the next release. It's just kind of a batch.
I mean, you guys
of
did an
everything.
awesome job right out of the gate. I mean, it's amazing. So glad to keep testing.
Get these fixed. I know when these happen though, I know it's a nightmare. So we'll get these fixed in the next one.
Yeah. All right, cool. And then in terms of doing light dark, you really should you always use something from the palette, like a fixed known color in your palette, or can you use?
Technically, you could do it multiple ways, but I would definitely recommend just using the fixed palette because it will make your life so much easier. So what you have here for the settings, this is only for the background of the app, and what you probably will use quite often. This is good because like if you don't have anything on the page, or you have a section and you don't have a background color applied to the section, what you'll see is whatever background color you have applied to the app. But what you'll probably use most often is the normal colors. So if you open up the assets button in the top left, and then you go to library, I think it's the last tab. If you click on the last tab in this panel, and then you see you have colors in the middle. If you press new here, you here also have a light and dark. And this is probably the one these colors are the one you'll use the most, and that you'd want to make sure have light and dark modes, because then what you can do is on the right hand side, like if you just add a background color to this container you have selected as an example, you can then choose this color, and as long as you use the built-in action in workflows to change themes, whenever the user switches between light and dark mode, it will know to automatically use the dark mode of this color or the light mode of this color.
Okay. All right. So all right. Got it. So then light, dark will be my options. And so this is where, it helps to really set actual CSS names. Yeah.
And then you can, you know how to apply them? Like how to use the color in something?
Yeah. You just go over, say over here.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could, I mean, like if you really wanted to, you could press the plug icon and bind the color and manually put in an if condition and say, if theme is dark, use this. If not, use this. But that's why it's like, you could technically do it that way, but it will make your life so much easier if you just use the built-in colors.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Thanks. Perfect timing. There we go. Right at the end. So thanks for your help.
Likewise. Thanks, Sean. And apologies again about the undo issue. I know it's an absolute nightmare, but we'll get it fixed in the next release.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Right. Take care. Bye. Cool. I'll just double check if I missed anything before we go. You asked, Akeem, what do you think about performance measurements inside WeWeb so you can see how fast the workflows are and optimize them? I think that'd be super cool. It's one of the things I'd personally love to see. In terms of debugging, you probably will like the next release in terms of what we do with the UI, because debugging will have a big overhaul. You can't necessarily see the performance times of a workflow. You can for the API endpoints and the built-in backend, you'll be able to see their response times. But in terms of a workflow on the front end and seeing how long that took, and even if you were to go into it and see it like a granular level, how long each action in the workflow took, that unfortunately won't be there. However, the debugging experience will be overhauled so much that I think it should solve a lot of the problems with debugging, because you can now see individual runs, click into individual runs, see what happened with each action, what was input, what was returned, and that kind of thing. So it should hopefully solve like 70% of the workflow optimization issues. And hello, William. Sorry, I'm just seeing this now. And you asked, when is the new UI coming up? Yes, it should be soon. Should be soon. I don't want to make any promises without Flo here, but it should be within the next 1 to 2 months, I would say, but we shall see. And there should be an open beta. So if you want to test it, everyone should be able to get involved and give feedback, which will be very cool. Super, right, that is us at the hour. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We hold these office hours every Tuesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Central European time. Hopefully, Flo can be with me next week. 1, so we can answer any tricky super-based questions, but 2, he can show off some of the back-end stuff, because right now I'm scared to show things I'm not supposed to. But yes, thank you so much, everyone. I shall catch you guys next week.